Humayun survived Chausa, but survival was not victory. In 1539, Sher Shah Suri shattered Mughal power. The emperor escaped, barely alive, but the worst was still coming. 1 year later, Sher Shah returned, stronger, richer, more dangerous than ever before. And this time, Humayun would not just lose a battle, he would lose an empire. At Kannauj, the Mughal Empire itself stood on the edge of destruction. Chausa had broken Mughal confidence. Soldiers were demoralized, nobles questioned leadership, trust weakened, fear spread, and everywhere, Sher Shah's reputation grew. To many, Humayun no longer looked invincible. He looked vulnerable, weak, uncertain. Yet despite disaster, the Mughal emperor still had one chance: rebuild, regroup, strike back. But first, he needed unity. And unity was the one thing Humayun did not have. His brothers remained unreliable. Rivalries poisoned trust. Ambition mattered more than loyalty. Instead of standing together, the Mughal family weakened itself. And Sher Shah watched patiently, waiting for the perfect moment. After Chausa, Sher Khan took a new title, Sher Shah. No longer merely a rising Afghan commander, he now stood as ruler, victorious, respected, feared. But unlike many conquerors, Sher Shah did not become careless. He prepared, strengthened administration, improved military discipline, expanded influence, organized supply lines, strengthened command. His army grew sharper, faster, more disciplined. Meanwhile, Humayun struggled simply to recover. One ruler was rising, the other was slowly losing control, and both knew something unavoidable. Another battle was coming. Humayun understood the stakes. Retreat could no longer save him. Delay would only strengthen Sher Shah. So the emperor made a decision, one final confrontation, one last attempt to save the empire. Across northern India, Mughal forces gathered, cavalry assembled, cannons prepared, soldiers marched once more. Yet beneath the surface, cracks remained. Coordination weakened, trust remained fragile. Brothers offered limited support. Leadership felt uncertain. Even before battle began, Sher Shah held an advantage: momentum, confidence, discipline. Still, Humayun marched forward, toward Kannauj, toward destiny, toward the battle that would decide everything. In 1540, the two armies finally faced one another near Kannauj. The Mughal Empire stood at risk. On one side, Humayun, fighting for survival, fighting for legitimacy, fighting to preserve what Babur had built. On the other, Sher Shah Suri, confident, prepared, relentless. The battlefield stretched wide. Dust filled the air. Cannons stood ready. Soldiers waited nervously. Tension spread through both camps. Everyone understood the stakes. Victory could shape India. Defeat could erase an empire. And somewhere beneath the silence, disaster was already approaching. Then, the battle began. Cannons thundered across the plains. Cavalry surged forward. Dust swallowed the battlefield. War cries echoed through the air. But almost immediately, problems appeared. Mughal coordination weakened. Movement became confused. Order struggled to spread clearly. What should have been disciplined resistance slowly became uncertainty. Sher Shah saw the weakness immediately, and he struck, fast, organized, ruthless. Afghan forces pushed hard, attacking vulnerable points, pressuring Mughal formations, refusing to lose momentum. While Humayun struggled to stabilize the battlefield, Sher Shah controlled it. The emperor had come to save an empire. Instead, he watched it begin to collapse. Soon, resistance began to fail. Mughal lines weakened. Confusion spread faster than commands. Soldiers broke formation. Panic grew. And once panic begins in battle, stopping it becomes nearly impossible. Afghan pressure intensified. Sher Shah's forces advanced relentlessly. Cannons became ineffective. Cavalry lost coordination. Battlefield control disappeared. Everywhere, signs of defeat spread. Broken banners, retreating soldiers, lost ground, crushed confidence. Humayun tried desperately to recover control. But by now, the battle no longer belonged to him. The empire Babur built through blood and conquest was slipping away, and everyone knew it. Defeat became unavoidable. Humayun fled. Again. But this time, something had changed. Chausa had been humiliation. Kannauj was destruction. Delhi was lost. Agra was lost. The Mughal Empire was gone. Sher Shah Suri entered power, victorious, triumphant. The empire Babur fought to create had collapsed in barely a decade. And Humayun, the emperor, became a fugitive, wandering, homeless, dependent on loyalty from shrinking allies, forced into uncertainty, forced into survival. For years, he would drift across dangerous lands, a ruler without a kingdom, an emperor without an empire. Kannauj was not simply another battle. It changed history. Sher Shah Suri now ruled northern India. The Mughals disappeared. For the first time, Babar's dream seemed dead, finished, buried beneath defeat. Few could imagine that the empire would ever return. But history had one final surprise waiting. Humayun had lost everything: his throne, his cities, his empire. But exile was not the end, because years later, against impossible odds, the defeated emperor would attempt something extraordinary: to reclaim India, to rebuild the Mughal Empire, and unknowingly prepare the way for one of history's greatest rulers, Akbar. Like and subscribe to Crescent and Steel, and march through history with us.